momentum feels huge, and also right of first selection does nullify a lot of the power we used to have coming into game 2, where you got the ultimate choice of red or blue. The other team still gets something.
Yeah. And it's 2 games in a row that KT have selected blue side rather than first or second pick, or red side, I suppose. Not sure why you would do that, but it's pretty interesting. You know, they give first pick over to BNK FearX for game 1, and now for game 2, BNK FearX gets to pick second pick. So it does feel like they've put themselves in a pretty good spot here. FearX, that is.
Yeah, if they're gonna, you know, keep a flex hidden again in this one, they also get to keep the counter pick until the end as well. So we will see Karma banned, which shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. Rumble as well, with KT having first pick. The bans here on the side of KT Rolster still keep the Lucian and the Varus, but Nocturne stocks went up. See if they give the Orianna over without the Nocturne, and there's no Jarvan. Those are the 2 best ball carriers right now in this meta for the Orianna. There's still a few good ones we've seen, but see if that is going to go over into the hands of BDD or not. The answer is not.
Probably a good idea. Don't want to give BDD basically the best mid laner on the patch, as we do have Vi. So that's going to be the first pick jungle here for Cuz.
I think that BNK FearX are very aware of this possibility. See what they want to take here. Maybe potentially deny. Bard feels great in every situation. Powerful bottom 2v2. And very good at rotating around the map with his team. I thought maybe we'd see a Lulu lane here instead, because maybe KT get Lulu Vi, which is very, very powerful. Works well with the potential Ahri that BDD could also lock in here. So what does the Bard get? Maybe we don't see the AD carry just yet, and we see a jungle response.
You can definitely hold on to it for a while. I mean, there's a lot of things that can go with Bard.
If you
Jhin and Kate are obvious, but even other stuff has been picked alongside of it.
If you show your hand of that, then KT have a duo to answer you. If you go for a mid pick, then it obviously a counter pick comes over. So I expected a jungle to come through here, but it will just be the blind Renekton here, which could really mess up what KT want to do, because they wanted to maybe get a strong bottom duo like a Lulu lane I was mentioning, but now there's a trade-off here because the Renekton will be protected in the next phase if you do get that duo, and they are going to get said duo. Yunara Lulu will come through. But this Renekton feels very powerful as a result, because those responses, the Gnar in particular, the Vayne likely, are going to be banned away.
Yeah, just like we saw out of KT Rolster in the last game, when they hadn't even picked their top laner yet. So this time around does seem like those bans are already written in the cards, as Caitlyn is going to be the choice here alongside the Bard. So they don't elect to go for a jungle or a mid pick just yet. They want to secure that bottom duo right now.
So I expect at least the Gnar is going to get banned here for BNK FearX for sure. On the KT Rolster side, I think the Fury might be a pick that you want to take a look at, because it is really strong right now. It's great into Vi because you can avoid her CC pretty well with it. And you can otherwise try to thin out the jungle pool a little bit, because that was the trade-off of what BNK went with this Renekton pick. Instead, they'll ban Ryze again into BDD. I just do not want to deal with it.
I mean, if you're banning Ryze, I suppose you're also banning Ahri.
Yeah, for sure.
BDD's Ahri is deadly, and it's Ahri Vi, so I think you kind of have to. If you're going for mid bans, this just seems like you kind of have to. I don't think I would ban Ryze and then ban Gnar. Seems like you're kind of missing the pools of both of the roles.
Yeah, unless Vikla has some crazy pick prepared, which wouldn't shock me with what we've already seen in game 1 of this series, but they are going to do that, and there are still ranged picks that Perfect can play into this Renekton, and the Ahri will go into the hands here of KT Rolster, unless Vikla plays Ahri himself, which I guess is technically possible.
Yeah, definitely still an option.
Lee Sin, Nefiri, these are the other like kind of fringe picks right now that are still available, that are quite strong. Ban the Annie away, which actually makes a ton of sense. So that's another pick that will feel great in a lot of matchups and works really well with this composition. So let's see what they're going to go with here. I think if you go jungle, makes the most sense. Be the Wukong. So they don't have the Annie, but they'll still go for the Wukong pick. which is great with all the engage they have right now. We'll see what the counter pick ends up being for the mid lane once BD reveals. You don't have to go Ahri. You know, this comp has a lot of scaling elements to it, so you don't need to actually all in on the Vi aspect. Cassiopeia works well with Vi, and also is great for scaling damage later on. Perfect, not going to opt for a range top here, but instead will look to be more frontline. So they're kind of changing the angle of this comp into a little bit more front-to-back late-game powerhouse. Or maybe kind of doing both. I thought maybe they were going to just lock the Victor and say, nah, it's just 5 for engage and a little bit of peel. There's a lot of single target burst in Yunara. Now, this was the pick that I had in my mind when they didn't ban the Ahri, and it also feels like a pick that's in Vicla's wheelhouse. It is very strong into the Ahri. It's a counter pick that we've seen countless times. It has worked specifically with Wukong in the past as well. A lot of circles, a lot of lockdown, and it means that not only can you threaten the Yunara, like Wukong when Yunara was released was the answering jungle pick into Yunara. You can, with so much mobility with Warriors, Trickster, with the Claw from the Lissandra, get access to this backline Yunara, but also just kind of straight up mess up the frontline engage that KT are trying to pull out here. Now, again, it's a little bit less of a trusted comp from BNK here, but they already pulled off the comp that they played in Game 1 very well, which was even less trusted than this, and then this one feels like it's a lot of known quantities. Like the Skarner was a little bit of a mystery, but this feels like stuff that we know that is great into what KT put together. And I have to say, I give the edge to BNK with this draft. I think they got a draft that has a true identity, and I think KT's draft is trying to do 2 different things.
Yeah, I kind of just feel like a lot of the eggs are in the Yunara basket. You know, get Ahri Vi in there to make picks happen and then play front to back with your Cassante. But yeah, pretty interesting. They kind of have like 2 pieces that have been shoved together. Whereas definitely a lot of synergy here on the side of BNK FearX as we hop into the rift for game number 2.
미니언들이 상승되었습니다.
I can't even make an analogy as to what that would be like, you know, in real life when you're so close to. It's like you tried to grab a baton in a relay race and it just like turned into sand. You're like, ah!
It's like when you just barely missed the train. The doors close in your face.
That's a great analogy, actually. That's quite a simple one as well. I don't know why I didn't think of that.
That's one that I think a lot of people can identify with. Probably taking public transport at some point in your life.
Surely. Although, growing up in the suburbs of the U.S.
If you live in the U.S., maybe not. Depending on where you're from. I mean, New York City obviously has
in the U.S., you're like, I tried to get in the, you know, when everyone was carpooling, I tried to get in the cool kid's car, but somebody took my spot right before.
Yeah, somebody said shotgun right before you did, so it's like, oh, everything's ruined.
Okay, well, this lane is very strong for the Caitlyn and the Bard. Lulu does well into a lot of lane matchups, but this is one that, especially at level 1, you'll have a little bit of a struggle with. But this is not about the lane, it's about what happens after the lane. It's what happens in skirmishes and what happens in late game team fights here for aiming. Which again is a little bit disjointed in some ways from what the Ahri Vi is trying to do. Yunara has a lot of great single target burst, but see how the fights go. And if they can get a lead somewhere before Raptor hits level 6. Because with Lissandra and Wukong having level 6, quite formidable at any point of the game.
Yeah. I feel like it's going to be pretty difficult for Ahri Vi to get a lot of value in this game unless you are in a winning position. Like, the targets you want to go for, probably Caitlyn. Everybody else is kind of iffy. You know, Lissandra can easily neutralize it. The Wukong has a lot of ways to disrupt it. Renekton, if he gets the dominance off at least, can be very tanky into it. But they also have Bard, so that's going to be a charm that comes down here on a Vikla, who does get a level and helps him out in this one. But it just feels like there's a lot of zone control on the side of BNK FearX, and they can handle engages very well as the flash comes in! And that's a flash forward from Perfect, but he was not in danger of dying, but he says, here, take my flash anyway. As now BDD is just going to flash himself towards the turret. Nice little gank here from Kellen.
Kind of an interesting flash there from Perfect, but you know, sometimes you have that kind of almost visceral reaction in that moment to press it, see if it's going to save you, as Taeyun is all alone.
The flanking Lulu is the deadliest, I suppose.
They will clear that ward out, and it will be Taeyun surviving, but minus barrier. And he's going to have to back here. Junara does really enjoy this new Doran's bow.
Oh, Kellen.
That's like being removed from the train.
Disorderly conduct.
Yeah. You were having a great chat with your friend, but you were a little bit too loud. Clear is, he's proxying.
He's not level 6 either, so he kind of just dies.
Cuz has red buff. See, I think he's 100% no way he gets the execute.
Trying to get to like
get the kill, I guess.
spot.
Oh no, aiming's here.
Yeah, Clear has given the kill over to aiming, so kind of backfiring there. His little whatever that was.
I mean, before I wasn't watching the minimap at all, to be honest with you, Valdez, but I didn't expect aiming to be there to get the kill. I thought, oh, okay, if it goes over to Lulu, this kind of makes sense what he's doing, but sometimes you get caught proxying. I mean, it's rare, but it does happen, as Vikla is also in trouble.
He's got Raptor nearby, but Vikla also not level 6. As Raptor is going pretty deep for this one. They have Kellen here, but he's looking pretty good for the side of KT, although the flashes come in, and Cuz gets burst down as aiming comes in, picks up a second kill, and BK Fearx's aggression will backfire as BD also gets one, and the carries of KT are eating good.
That was really mechanically well played by B&K, but maybe they also weren't watching the mini-map, as aiming was not in the bottom lane, and someone was missing. Someone who already got a freebie just moments before. He picks up a second one. Now, he is massively down on CS because he dropped a wave to kill Clear, and also dropped a little bit of a wave to go for that play. Can he get back to the turret? I think the answer is yes, resoundingly.
Yeah, I mean, Cuz is here. So that's certainly going to help out with that. I think Taeyun wanted to try to proxy and maybe force Cuz to come down, but he was already there, so not really getting a whole lot of value out of that. Top laners trading as they do. No early Drake take this time from B&K Fearx.
No, not this time. A bizarre game. Feels like B&K are kind of trying to rewrite the rules of League of Legends in this series. Effort's here, first of all, which is the problem for Vikla trying to use this prio to rotate over. But he has his claw, so he is able to get out. And then they tried to outplay us because Kellen actually, okay.
We're fighting the bottom river as Effort is here once again. He doesn't have flash, so he just kind of dies. Trying to get position on the Scuttle Crab for level 6. Where have we seen this before? Feels like almost every game. And the supports generally die for it, or the junglers. So I suppose it's better that it's Effort than Cuz.
Well, I think
in this case,
KT built a massive part of their insane streak and their first place here in the LCK, punishing plays around Dragon and around Scuttle Crab. They were so good at it, and this time they will, sadly for Effort, be the victims of said punish. So we're gonna go back to this play here initially. Cuz uses his Q on the crab, and so he cannot do anything for Effort.
Like, he saw Raptor there, and he's like, yeah, I can face check this.
Well, and I think one of the issues is, too, like, if you're going to do that, and Cuz is not, like, you have to tell Cuz, like, I think I'm going to check this. Maybe Cuz holds his Q, and then maybe he can help you get away there with it, but he didn't have it in time, so that Effort just dies. There were definitely a few different things they could have done to prevent that situation, like you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, Effort definitely... very key to KT's big run they had at the beginning of the season. But he wasn't the most flashy support. I mean, he never really has been, but his leadership and the calls and the, the experience that he brought into a lot of those early matchups was very good. But, I feel like we're beginning to see some of the cracks here and there in some of the decisions that are being made and some of the mechanics as well. So got to look for that from Effort as we move along here in the LCK.
Vikla is on vision here, heading over to try to snipe Cuz. With the Wukong rotating over, it's not going to lead to anything, but they are posturing aggressively. Could back off and just take this dragon, but nah. Gonna go back to clear blue buff. And they have a lot of prio on the bottom side, but aiming is very powerful at this point in the game. As you can see, just pressing Q, he's ready to trade. Does have cleanse as well, so he can really force the advantage if he ends up getting a health trade.
No! Oh, okay. He just barely made it onto the train.
Yes.
The door's closed right behind him. His shirt got like a little bit stuck, but he like pulled it through.
Pulled through quick, because that's dangerous. You do not want that.
But yeah, Tatum's gonna pick that up. And, you know, aiming got what felt like a couple of free kills early on in this game. It's definitely why he has the lead he has, especially because he's down so much in the lane itself.
I wouldn't call them as free, but BDD picking up that kill he has is also pretty huge for his advantage. And aiming is not, he's not getting the farm, but he is getting some money from kills. And I think this is okay, because eventually he's going to get out of this bottom lane, and he will be able to be backed up a little bit more by the rest of his squad. Taehoon is doing a good job of doing the Caitlyn Bard thing, right? As they are finally going to use this prio to start up this dragon. This has been a bit of a pause in the action. Now, Cuz will grab 3 grubs in return. Not the greatest side laning pushing composition here, but Ahri can get some work done depending on the game state later on. So I do like this dragon more, especially considering it's a Chemtech. So you know it's not Chemtech Soul.
I feel like as a KT fan, you're probably feeling a bit more comfortable with the game the way it's going this time around with, you know, BD on his Ahri. He oftentimes get early kills on this pick, and he already has a very nice gold lead. Yes, Cuz is behind, but he's Vi, so he can kind of just press R and maybe enable BDD. And in the bottom lane, aiming, yes, struggling, but has caught up very nicely with the 2 kills, so not struggling all that much in the game state. So we'll see about that, though, as the trap is going to land here, and aiming is going to be forced to cleanse. And he survives, but he's not very healthy, so he might just have to back again.
Yeah, he's just going to lose more minions, going to lose more money. He is certainly not looking like the Gold King in this one, as Effort is going to try to apply some pressure here and control some vision.
Yeah, this is... this is a bit of a problem. I mean, they're going to follow him here. He doesn't have to flash.
Look at the positioning of Raptor. Every time they make plays like this, he's preventing any rotation, any interference. He's like, nope, you guys can do this. I got your back. I am Wukong, I have Flash, I have Warriors Trickster. I'm going to get in there so quickly. And so they just push Effort out, and aiming is finally here to catch some more minions, but he's 26 CS behind. That'll be a little bit smaller once he gets these last few, but KT, I think, at some point need to try to make some punish plays here. Cuz has been relatively quiet since the early skirmishes, as aiming's just pushed out right away.
This is so rough. I mean, how do you... Aiming must feel really sad in this game. I mean, he just got back to lane. He was already chunked a little bit.
It's like Effort is out there just warding the jungle defensively because they know a dive is potentially coming, but because he's not there, aiming is just like, oh, I guess he pressed R and now my turret is dead. His turret is dead, by the way. And there's only 2 minions left. I think they still get this pretty easily. And there was another wave right afterwards. No follow-up, no punish. And, you know, the Wukong has been quite proactive, has been very powerful here, has been really preventing any sort of farming, any sort of follow-up. It almost feels like aiming is like, I'm glad the turret's gone, because now it's kind of safe to farm. He will be heading to the mid lane eventually, as we've mentioned, but wants to get that role quest unlocked first. KT, like you said, it's not as bad as it was in game 1. But it's certainly not a convincing start.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty rough. It does feel like a lot of the pieces for BNK are kind of working out once again in the early game.
Finally,
lead isn't gigantic.
Cuz is going to come down here, so aiming, instead of going to the mid lane, he's just like, let me see if I get some plate gold here in this bottom lane. Pushes this one out as well. And now trying to dive clear, I think, is not the right choice.
So apparently there was a game in Road to EWC where aiming was not allowed to stand in the lane. Jin Alistair was the lane, and it went kind of as you would imagine.
I think that was...
You don't see a lot of Alistair nowadays.
That was into this very team, if I'm not mistaken. Aiming had a great game out of the lane, but struggled early. As Taehoon's great at that pressure lane. Nice sidestep.
Yep, nice sidestep here. Effort still has his flash, as he's going to ult the clone! Oh no, cuz not like this. Raptor just gonna flash the wall, and the chase is on actually, so Raptor in a lot of trouble. Has the Cyclone, is doing a lot of damage, gets the kill on aiming! And that's just about as good as it could have gone, as Vikla kind of alone here in the pits, as they are gonna have to lock down the charm, the polymorph, everything going into Vikla, but now Taeyun is set free, and so is this Croc, as he's in there, and does a ton of damage. Cuz not able to take him down, and Clear picks up another one. Man, BNK just crushed them in that fight.
Yeah, it's not looking good for your six-game day theory today. You thought maybe it was the first time. It's not looking likely after that team fight that KT are going to bounce back in this one. We've seen crazier things from this team already. Cuz ulting the clone, really not great. Really not great. He had flash, there's no excuse, really. Now they still force Raptor the flash.
Control word too, like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, there's too much there's too many reasons why it wasn't right. Like, sometimes there's a situation where you have to ult the clone to, like, taxi, and it's the only choice you have, but this was not it. As Clear, by the way, lots of fury building up with his ultimate. Loves to be in the thick of things amongst all the bad guys. When they're low health like this, oh my god. Look at his items, by the way. He's not even like,
hey, you need a taxi ride? Like, he would just pull you into the entire team.
You look at his items. He's sitting on like a phage and a pickaxe. He doesn't have it.
I think aiming dies this time. He does have flash. Ult comes in, and thankfully Cuz is there. And he will survive, but man, he's probably feeling dead inside right now.
Oof. At least he's not dead outside. He's still very healthy and can continue to clear his jungle.
I mean, BNK Firax, you take a look at the scores of these two teams. It's 3-8 versus 9-2. It should not be this one-sided, but that's just the nature of, you know, how the form of the teams really does fluctuate over the course of a season. And we saw in Road to EWC, I mean, the writing was a little bit on the wall. As Raptor this time did not see that writing. He's going to face check the brush. And he will actually be okay as Cuz goes in, gets the wild growth, and then immediately dies. And now Effort is next. He's going to die for the sins of Cuz. The follow-up comes in as aiming, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Dies to Dominus.
Not even going to press the Q button. Won't waste it. He needed it for that 1 minute he got right afterwards. That's how dead he knew aiming was. Taeyun is going to look for a second turret here as Kellen is pushing BDD away.
Well, they're doing a good job of keeping him around, although they do miss a lot of things.
I still think, ooh, he gets turret aggro. He's probably,
Heal comes in, flash charm, and I think Taeyun is, well, he's still alive. I mean, the Q is going to miss. Okay, we got a flank here from Perfect. Surely he...
I don't know.
Oh, no.
Magical Journey, and there's a Wukong here.
The charm actually does get Kellen, so really shaking things up here. Little disengage gun. I think he was going to get away anyway.
I mean, it's a sliver of a tiny piece of a get back here for KT to get the kill onto Kellen after a lot of shenanigans, but ultimately the turret still goes down, which was the objective, which was why they were pushing that deep. Plates are going over in the top lane and in the bottom lane in the interim. As Cuz here, like, he has control vision, or no, he does not have control vision. Actually, for a second I thought that was his word. He doesn't have information here, but I think the lack of information might have been enough to think that's probably not the right call. Aiming just dies to Dominus, and then they push the turret, and it gets a little bit weird, and I hope we don't have that whole of that replay, because I'd rather just see what's going on in live. Instead, we'll watch the save here from Kellen. Come here, come here, come here. He's got the magical journey for him, and he dies for it, but gets the carry out.
I love you.
Yes, I love you.
I feel like anyone who plays with Kellen just kind of ends up in love. It makes sense. I mean, Kellen is he's a sweetheart, and he loves dying for his AD carry. This time, he's just going to die for no reason. Trying to ward, actually, so there was a small reason. But yeah, it does feel like kind of the crumbs that KT is picking up, but you got to start somewhere. It just feels like the synergy right now between Cuz and BDD isn't there. Like, if you're playing Ahri Vi, you got to make sure your Ahri is next to you if you're going to go in.
Well, it's almost like they forgot how it is when you're a little bit behind in games. So like, oh, no, we still just play this out, it's fine. And it doesn't matter if they're there or not because we're super ahead and we'll outplay it. And that's kind of like, it feels to me a lot of how Genji's woes started this season, but they've kind of started to get past that a little bit. As Vikla might be in trouble, but he is Lissandra, so let's see.
Does have Raptor nearby, but the Polymorph comes in, the Claw not able to be taken. Cuz getting pretty low, but there's 4 members of KT here, and that's going to be a kill on a Vikla. Make it 5 members. Here comes Perfect, nice little flash to get away from that one, but it's still a good pick from the side of KT.
This is starting to become a bit of a playable game here for KT, to be honest with you, Valdez. A few big mistakes here from BNK, and KT have gotten back into this. You know, these types of picks are huge, and this Lissandra doesn't do a ton of damage at a game state that she's in right now, 0-3-4. So the composition won't necessarily just be able to run aiming down, who does pick up his second item. He's still very far behind the Caitlyn in this game, but he's a Yunara that can carry late game team fights if we get there. And KT are playing as a group and buying time, which it feels like for so many of the recent games has been the real MO. It's like lose early and then hope that later we can figure it out. And in moments like this, they do. As you mentioned, the Polymorph is huge here. Vikla in trouble, gets charmed. Raptor can't really do too much, and he's kind of trying to decide, can I save him or can I get out? He escapes with the flash there, as we have another play in the top lane and in the bottom lane.
Yeah, pretty interesting there. Going to get Vikla's flash with Cuz's play down on the bottom side of the map. So that's going to be pretty nice. It is a Cloud Soul here. BNK Fierce did get the first couple of Drakes once again, but definitely, as you were saying, a more playable game and potentially a chance for KT to try to fight for these objectives this time around. Although with the Rift Herald, maybe not this time.
I like this choice because Raptor's ult's coming up, and it was when they dropped in 5 seconds. It's up now. And so it's really hard for KT to actually outplay this. You know, there's not a big angle for them to stop the siege. It's just going to be a guaranteed take of that inner turret. And now they're positioned to take Soul Point here on this Cloud Soul, which, by the way, is insane for any Wukong composition. So very, very powerful get here for BNK. There's just no contest. Looks like KT will, in turn, try to look for mid-turret. Late contest possible, but with Caitlyn traps here, challenging at best. And I think, yeah, put your eyes back on that mid-turret, KT, because this one is just gone.
They got to be careful sticking around. I mean, BNK Fierce do have a lot of catch potential with Lissandra Bard, as that is going to be the charm that does come in. They catch BDD with the Tempered Fate, but it doesn't look like BNK Fierce want to continue on that. They're going to take the win and actually back away. Not something we see all the time from this squad.
All right, well, can they get the turret? You know, they missed their window because they went for a late contest and they walked away from the contest. So they didn't get the turret. They were able to win the little scrappy skirmish there, and the Tempered Fate's down, but they can't, you know, with this Caitlyn clearing the wave, can't get that turret. Can't even get an additional plate or that proc of the Crystalline Overgrowth. So BNK lose nothing for getting that dragon, sieging the mid-inner turret with the Herald, which they also secure, and they maintain this 3,000 gold lead.
Yeah. Still definitely a chance for KT at this point. Definitely the biggest issue is the AD carry role, where Taeyeon is very far ahead, already has Infinity Edge completed. So the Yunara are going to take a little bit longer to get online and is 2,000 gold behind.
I always feel like it's such a double-edged sword when that's the biggest problem that you have to face, especially when you're running a dive comp that has Ahri Vi. It's like, okay, there's one problem on the other side, this huge problem. There's a Renekton there, right? He's pretty large as well, but like their main damage source, because they have Lissandra in the mid lane, is the Caitlyn. If we can kill him, it's playable. And you've got all the tools to lock him down. He doesn't have cleanse, obviously, even though there is a Mikhail's here for Kellen. There's a world where if they just find him at a weird angle or they surprise him, KT could win 5v5s here and get right back into the game. Wouldn't count on it right now, but it is absolutely possible. But that's why a team needs to play incredibly safe. And right now, KT are just trying to find any small gold on the map. They're running around like beggars trying to find any plates from the dumpster.
It feels like KT have done a decent job of getting vision down when they're, you know, moving out on the map. They don't really have a lot of control vision, but you can see there were a lot of wards there up on the top side of the map when they were pushing. So that definitely allows them to have some semblance of control on the map at the moment, even though it should be mostly BNK Fierx's control.
I think that gold graph is trying to illustrate, or they're trying to use it, the KR side, to illustrate the lead hasn't grown further and has shrunk a little bit, so BNK not as in control of this game as they were, which is kind of what we're putting down here on this broadcast as well, as Cuz is going to queue back, and they're trying to get this wave to the mid turret. Crystalline Overgrowth would be huge for them to proc there, but they just cannot quite get there.
Little fight down at the bottom lane as we have one in the mid lane, as BDD going to be caught here. He's going to be trapped up, but the rest of the squad is able to push forward. Oh my! Oh my, Caitlyn. is what I wanted to say. Perfect on the run. Level 16 Dominus really doing a huge amount of damage here to the Cassante.
This is, in my mind, Clear's best pick. He is so ahead. He is just going to continue to generate leads. So KT are kind of on a clock. They need to get something elsewhere or try to punish this Renekton, but that sounds very challenging, especially with the build he has in this game. He is a raid boss, and he's just going to continue to do damage the longer the fight goes on. So they do not bail out the Cassante. Clear is going to get an additional plate here. He is just very happy to take this and walk away. And KT kind of just, again, reset and go back for a chip away at the top lane, perhaps. But without the vision, you mentioned it, when they don't have it, they're being very safe. When they do have it, they're pushing the envelope a little bit further. So much damage in this game for BD. He is performing way better than in Game 1 and in the early laning phases we saw in the series against D+ earlier this week.
Oh, Taeun is so far ahead of everybody else. I mean, aiming is the closest because he's the other 80 carry. But, I mean, we're going to have a 4-item Caitlyn here soon. I don't know. I don't think he's going to have it for the Cloud Soul potential fight, but there's a world where if something goes wrong, BNK could just drop one Drake and then say, okay, we want to fight with our 4-item Caitlyn
well, right
instead.
Now, they have 2 flanking side laners. It's Clear is going to get his teleport interrupted.
Yeah, kind of awkward there. Just trying to go for the flank, it looks like.
Maybe they do give this up now because he doesn't have the TP and he can't get in very easily, but, like, Vikula's getting so much money, and the Dragon hasn't even spawned yet.
You can see KT really don't want to give this Cloud Soul away.
It's so powerful for BNK's comp, but with the extra timing they have, they can just, instead of looking for a flank, send Vikula to the mid lane and start taking that prio back away. Raptor has Flash Cyclone. They have Tempered Fate back. Just so many tools. As long as Taeun doesn't get engaged on and die, I feel like BNK have got this one locked down already, pretty much. I mean, barring a crazy smite steal, but that will even cost you, I think.
Oh no, BD gonna get chunked out big time, and now Raptors going on in very aggressively, but they have so much follow-up with the Lissandra, and the flash over the wall from Clear just gets the huge flank and aiming, trying his best, but he's getting out DPS by Taeun, who takes the magical journey and keeps the fight alive. This is a clean ace for BNK BFX, and they might just win the series here.
I don't think they can at this exact moment in time because there's no wave. We're still only 25 minutes in, but I think the Nexus isn't dead, Valdez, but I think they have won the series there. And when you watch this, it's like absurd, the lead that the Caitlyn has. And like I said, if they can kill her, then that problem is solved. But he walks the line so well. It's what so many of our up-and-coming AD carries have been so good at. We've been singing the praises of, you know, Paze's return to the LCK, obviously Diablo. Taeun, though, was one that I think people forgot used to always play like this, but now that he's on BNK, it feels like his skill set has been unlocked, and it's crazy because he is so similar to Diablo, but it looks like their styles are just a little bit different, and he's gelling with BNK the way Diablo did not. Smash, similar story, another one of those 80 carries on that list. Of
we have a arm guard for Taeun. Yeah, that's how far ahead he is.
That's...
If you want to know, like, how far ahead is the Caitlyn? This far ahead.
It allows him to be safe in every situation. He knows, he's like, I'm 3,000 gold ahead. They know the only way they can win this game is kill me. The casters are talking about it, and I'm just not going to allow that to happen. He doesn't have flash anymore, so the safe buy.
I mean, they already had so much safety for him with traps, with Bard, with Alessandra to block. I mean, and now he has an arm guard. Really does feel like the final nail in the coffin with just that item buy. Love to see the defensive itemization from this far ahead. Did he really need more damage? I don't think so. He's already like two-shotting BDD. Not to mention effort that one time he almost one-shot. So yeah, he's in a really comfortable spot. And now he's looking to just walk up to them, headshot, and again, if they try to engage, it's not really a good answer or a good follow-up.
Yeah, it's really tough for the Inara to win the fight without her head. And so they just
that's a bit of
take the turret.
Yeah, generally not good for your well-being.
You know,
missing that.
There's a few champs who could be headless and still do fine. Not Inara.
Oh, they're gonna catch Cuz here, but Taeun's not there, so follow-up isn't necessarily that deadly.
Gaming is healed up now. He's got his head back. Luckily for him, but the damage has been done here on this bottom side. And eventually, KT will have to look for a Hail Mary, I think. Otherwise, we're talking inhibitors being broken. Somebody's going to have to flank. They have no flank vision, no wards. Cuz is maybe going to look for the long Q engage range on the Taeyun, who has arm guard. And then he's like, no way, I can't do that.
Yeah, again, it just feels like there's not a lot of options here as Effort will die. There he goes, just disappears. And the follow-up on a Cuz is huge as well. I mean, they can't even deal with the Renekton alone. Not to mention the rest of the team. BNK Fearx just a bit too far ahead as BDD, he had a good game, but it was only him. And he can't do it alone. BNK Fearx showing up tonight. Really like the prep with the compositions in both games, to be honest, as they will take the series 2-0 tonight.
It's the kind of game where everybody is doing their job incredibly well. And BNK just once again outclassed KT 4 games in a row now.
Yeah, we talked about in both series, or both games rather, how there were definitely winning moments where KT could have turned things around, but not meant to be.
Watch this. Bye.
That is the Caitlyn Bard.
And then aiming. I don't think Clear even pressed W. Just killed him without it.
Yeah. Just
everyone's giving
Taeyun
Taeyun the props.
He's good.
Nice.
It's good.
It's good. It's good.
It was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
In fact, I would go as far as to say it was great.
Yeah.
Myself, I'm going to take it one step further.
Yeah, again, like I said at the end of the game, I think it was just really good preparation. Like, obviously, the Skarner that came in for Kellen, the Olaf, you know, a lot of answers into KT's relatively standard compositions. And, yeah, just feel like they have better form, better prep for the day, and that's going to get you a 2-0 victory. Now, I'm very curious about the POM.
I am as well.
Might just go to the boom boom damage. You know, when things get a little bit confusing, when there's a lot of choices, just go for the guy that kind of headshot people and took their heads off.
Went for a pretty weird one, but I'll wait for the space to reveal that one. I'll keep it a little close to my chest. Unless he gets it, then I'll pretend like I knew all along.
Well, it's just going to be
Taeyun.
Taeyun.
So that much you guys know, but Taeyun, I think, was the expected result. His Mel was really good in terms of follow-up. I feel like he wasn't the main character in game 1, but he did his job with the setup incredibly well and didn't really whiff. He only died one time, and then Caitlyn popping off as well. And Taeyun is suddenly surging through the palm standings. What a turnaround. Like, BNK's, they went for this trade, and it absolutely worked out. I mean, we've never really seen anything like this.
It's kind of crazy because Taeyun was struggling here at the LCK. Then he went to LPL, was doing very well there. Then he came back and was struggling again, and we were like, what's going on with this player? And now he moves to another.